Pain is a red flag for inflammation in the body, and inflammation leads to pretty much every chronic condition known to man. Cardiovascular disease, diabetes, high blood sugar, autoimmunity, and many, many more. So today we're going to focus on the top 8 inflammatory foods in the typical American diet and what to do about them, how to eliminate them, how to substitute them, and how to use food as medicine to calm down inflammation and to help you lead the great lifestyle that you always wanted. So if you're interested, keep watching. Hello friends, I'm Monica Paz, certified nutritionist and functional nutrition lifestyle practitioner. I'm also the founder of Nourish Functional Nutrition. If you're new here, be sure to click that subscribe button and don't forget to tap on the bell so that you can get notified every time I release a new video. Any link that I mentioned today, you will be able to find in the notes. The top 8 inflammatory foods found in the typical American diet include the following. Number 1 is sugar. Number 2 is alcohol. Number 3 is any processed foods, things that come in a package. Number 4 is sugar-containing beverages and any processed foods like fast foods. Number 5 is artificial sweeteners, anything that is attempting to substitute sugar or anything sweet. Refined carbohydrates are an inflammatory food, anything that is ground up into a fine powder like flours and anything that is milled and it's not found in nature. The last 2 that I'm going to mention are inflammatory foods that I typically recommend that people begin eliminating from their diet right away because they are usually the ones that are going to give you the most bang for your buck, and that is gluten and dairy. Today, let's just go through a couple of examples and things that you can do to start eliminating these foods from your diet to see if they're affecting your health. I have put together a handout for you. It's free as an ebook, and it talks about the 10 easy ways that you can eliminate pain from your body, and all of this information is in there. I invite you to download that. You can find it in the notes. So when we're talking about processed foods, anything that is not a whole food is going to be processed in some kind of a factory. So it's not a man-made food. So we're trying to get back to nature and trying to eat whole foods because that is what our bodies were meant to digest and absorb. And when we can digest and absorb food that was meant for our bodies to process, then we don't need to eat processed foods. And sometimes we just get used to the convenience, but the convenience has a toll. A lot of times people say that it's normal to feel pain because all of their friends and everyone around them feels the same. It may be common, but it is not normal. So just remember that the possibility is there that you can feel vital, you can feel energized and back to the way you felt when you were younger. So do not accept pain as a form of aging. I'm going to group fast foods and beverages containing sugar in the same category because they're usually eaten at the same time. Fast foods, if you start doing some research, you will find out that the reason they're fast is because they have been pre-made, and the reason they're pre-made is because they're processed. So they kind of go back to that same processed food category. I call those food-like substances. They're really not food, they're food-like substances because they're made to resemble food. If you eat them, you will notice that you're not nourished, but you are full for a short period of time, and then you become very, very hungry and your cravings increase. When your cravings increase, you end up eating a lot of sugar. So it's kind of like a vicious cycle. Believe it or not, drinking juice is the equivalent of drinking soda. The only difference is that juice has more vitamins in it, but it has no fiber. But it has the same effect in the body. It raises the blood sugar. Anything that raises your blood sugar is going to raise your inflammation rate. So you're better off having a piece of fruit. You will feel fuller with the fiber and you will not have the energy crashes. So all of the sweetened beverages, the artificially sweetened beverages and juices are going to make your blood sugar be erratic, go up and down. And signs of low blood sugar are fatigue, irritability, and crashing, or feeling hangry when you're feeling hungry and angry at the same time. Refined carbohydrates are anything that resembles powder. It resembles something that has been refined many times. So if you're going to eat corn, you eat a whole kernel corn. is not the same as if you eat cornmeal. Cornmeal has been refined, it has been processed, and again, it's going to affect your blood sugar. It doesn't have the fiber. Everything has been removed from it. So when the fiber is removed, your blood sugar goes up, and it treats it just like having anything sweet or anything high in sugar. So it's best to stay away from those if you want to eliminate pain from your body. You can substitute with things that are not processed, so whole grains like lentils, legumes, beans, rice like brown rice or wild rice or black rice even, or you want to look for food that it's in its original form, the way that nature intended for it to be digested. Dairy. And when I talk about dairy, I talk about conventionally raised cow dairy, and that has been processed so many times. It's a molecule, the protein. There's two proteins in milk and dairy that are very large and are not meant for humans to digest, and that's why we have so much trouble digesting milk. So that's a good place for you to remove and see if it has an effect. Usually when you remove a category of food from your diet, you want to wait about 3 days to see if there's an effect. Then after removing it, keeping it out of your diet for 2 to 3 weeks to allow your immune system to calm down, and then bringing it back. If you cannot tolerate cow's dairy, I would suggest that you may have either a lactose intolerance, or maybe you're not tolerating the protein, which is casein or whey. And if that's the case, I would go with a different animal like a sheep or goat. And some people can tolerate those better, and I would go as raw as possible. However, you need to be careful with the source of your dairy so that you are sure that it's clean. It's a clean source, but the more closer to nature, the better. And then gluten is the one that I'm leaving till the end because I feel is the one that is the most inflammatory. Gluten has been shown to create inflammation in joints and pretty much in every part of your body. So some people will feel it in their sinuses. That's a form of inflammation when you are congested and you cannot clear your throat. You have postnasal drip, and it may have something to do with your inability to sleep at night. It may cause snoring, stomach upset, constipation, diarrhea, joint pain, migraines. If you're suffering from any of these things, consider removing gluten from your diet and see what happens. I have seen gluten involved in so many conditions that this is the first thing that I recommend that people remove from their diets. Gluten has gliadin in it. It's the protein in gluten, but it also sometimes in the process of processing the gluten, they will add more gluten to it, and that way the bread is more able to be more pliable, more spongy, last longer. And there are a lot of issues with gluten, not just with celiac people, but there's a non-celiac gluten sensitivity that happens. So there's kind of a spectrum. I will be doing a video next on gluten alone, and so I encourage you to watch that when it comes out in a couple of weeks. So for now, I just want to say that the best way to find out whether you need an anti-inflammatory diet is to review the top 8 inflammatory foods and see if they're a big part of your diet. Consider removing the top 8 inflammatory foods from your diet for a period of time to allow your immune system to calm down. And when you do that, you can substitute with whole food. So when it comes to sweets, the best way to substitute sweets is with something that comes from nature, like maple syrup, pure maple syrup, a little bit of honey, or even coconut sugar. So again, trying to decrease the amount of sweetness in your diet so that you can get used to a more stable blood sugar and a less inflamed body. So I hope that helped. And if you have any questions, please put them in the comments. I will be talking more about the anti-inflammatory diet in weeks to come. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, to subscribe, and tap on the bell so that you can get notified when I release a new video. Thank you for being here. I'll see you in the next one.